Hey, what is up guys? So I got a really quick replay that I want to share with you guys using the new Silent Swordsman in action. Now, the replays from Silent Swordsman are going to be really fast because the way that Silent Swordsman works, I'm going to play the replay real quick and then I'm going to break it down for you guys. But pretty much what it comes down to is, does your opponent engage you? And majority of the time, if they engage you and you get out Silent Swordsman level 7, you either just win the duel or you just lose really hard because the deck it loses to monster effects, and there's too many monster effects, and it can also lose to trap cards technically, but the thing is, obviously you have cards to protect them, which we will get into, so I'll go ahead and break it down. It's a really quick replay over here, thanks for sending in this replay, Teriyaki, but I want to share with you guys like the full effects of the Silent Swordsman, because we haven't talked about them on my channel, but I think it's an okay, archetype. I think it definitely needs more support. It's cool that we're getting support for the level system, though, because no one playing level monsters here in 2016. Maybe Silent Swordsman very soon in the future if we get some more support cards. But let me go ahead and break it down. I really like this replay, though, because it incorporated Brining Captain, and it busted out the Shadow Mist. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. You make a Chaos, like, Dark and Light Warrior deck, and then you can incorporate, old school fan favorite, Silent Swordsman. But anyway, Silent Swordsman is a level 4 with 1,000. It can't be normal summon set, must be special summon from your hand by tributing a warrior type monster, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn during the standby phase, this card gains 500 attack. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell card is activated, you can negate the activation, and if this card is destroyed by battle or this card you control is destroyed by opponent's card effect, you can special summon one Silent Swordsman monster from your hand or deck except for Silent Swordsman, ignoring its summoning conditions. So from that point on, you can just go ahead and bust out the highest level Silent Swordsman as of right now. I don't know if they're going to make any more support cards for this, but if they make like a level 9 that's like, it's immune to maybe monster effects too, that's what really would make this card, because it forces your opponent to play trap cards. But there is a card that already protects them, which we'll get into once it is activated. So one thing that you got to make sure you do, though, is if you're playing Elemental Hero Shadow Mist and you happen to add it with max changes, like if you're playing this Chaos-ish build, because there's a lot of cards with the Gaia things to kind of support the light and dark archetype. So I think it's really cool to mix that in. Very awesome tech there, Teriyaki. But with Shadow Mist, when you add this card for free, make sure you don't get out the Silent Swordsman. That was a little misplay that he did over here, so maybe you guys can learn from that. So anyways, so he activates a Solemn Strike, or Notice, when he activates the effect of Silent Swordsman. So Silent Swordsman's effect is, during the standby phase, you just gain 500 attack. So this card will just get stronger and stronger. So technically what it does is it makes your opponent not want to attack this card, because then they're just going to get a high level Silent Swordsman from the deck. More than likely it's going to be Silent Swordsman level 7. So if this card survives on the field, it just gets stronger and stronger every freaking turn. Every turn it goes back to your turn technically. It's just going to gain a bunch of attack, and obviously that can be problematic, so your opponent wants to deal with it, so he activates Solemn Strike on it. But it has that effect that once it's destroyed, you're going to go ahead and actually be able to just special summon a Silent Swordsman. Now, this one is from your hand or deck. I don't know if this is just a glitch or not. I recommend always to get cards from your hand. I'm sorry, not to go for the cards in your hand, but go for the cards in your deck. That way you don't draw into it. So he activates Bottomless Trap Hole. And then he changed Silent Sword. You might be thinking, well, wait, doesn't this negate all face-up spell cards? Exactly, but we'll get into it in a second. So this card, it can't be no more summon set. This card cannot be special summoned except by the effect of Silent Swordsman, but this one ignores the summoning condition, so it breaks the rules of the game. But as long as the card remains face-up on your side of the field, negate the effects of all spell cards on the field. So Silent Sword normally would be negated by this, but it's a quick play, and also we'll get into reasons why. So anyways, this is a quick play, it's new support, it's target one Silent Swordsman monster you control. That target gains 1500 attack and defense, and if it does, it is unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. And then also you can banish this card from your graveyard to add one Silent Swordsman monster from your deck to your hand, which will probably be this one. The rest of the stuff, I really just don't think it's that viable. But again, even though like this card makes it so your opponent will want to get rid of this really quick, if they get rid of it really quick, it's going to go ahead and summon another thing. So if they don't get rid of it, they're like, it's a lose-lose for your opponent technically, unless they like bounce it back or do something like that. But this card, excellent card, and that's why it's not going to be negated by a Silent Swordsman, because it cannot be negated. So he activates Bottomless, he's able to save the card. He goes ahead and attacks with the Shadow Mist, attacks with Silent Swordsman, activates Mass Change on Shadow Mist, but again, this is a little thing that you guys gotta keep in mind. It negates both players. Sometimes players think, oh, it's just your opponents. No, even back in the day, I knew people that were like, oh no, it's just, you know, negate my opponents. It's like, no, it actually negates both. But he summons Silent Swordsman level 5 here, so it's unaffected by opponent's spell cards. If this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack during the next standby phase, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard and special summon a level 7 Silent Swordsman from your hand or deck. So the idea is to just get out these cards, and obviously you won't have to lose to things like Dark Hole, but you're very, very vulnerable to a lot of monster effects, and that's just kind of the nature of the deck, and I think that that's okay because it's got to have some type of weakness, right? But if you want to like see the this is obviously not a deck profile, but I just want to talk about these cards because I feel like they're too mediocre right now to run in like the meta of the game. So for example, like let's check out the Silent Swordsman lineup. So we have 3, 5, and 7. Let me move this over here. So level 3's effect is that negate the effects of your opponent's spell cards that target this card. During your standby phase, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard to special summon 1 Silent Swordsman level 5 from your hand or deck. You can activate this effect turn this card as normal summon, special summon, or flipped summon. So there's a lot of downsides technically to this card. And it's that your opponent can't target it, so it's like, it's very mediocre. So Silent Swordsman level 5, if you get out this guy, it makes it so it's unaffected by your opponent's spell cards. This one unnegates, so it gets stronger and stronger as it goes on. I hope we get a level 9, that's what I'm really hoping for. I'm hoping for our Dragon support, I'm hoping for Horus support. Horus was like the only one that people actually really even played in the game, but Silent Swordsman level 5, it's got a pretty decent effect, but it is a Tribute 1, and it only has 2300 attack, so even though this card is really good, so it prevents it from anything, so that's really good. The problem that I have with Silent Sword over here is that it's not, as of right now, searchable. So like, even if you go Silent Sword straight into, let's say, like level 7, great like one card combo, right? If you go for this card, you crash, and then you get out like, you know, a bigger monster, and then you can go ahead and attack over their things. The thing is, you need to get out this card really fast, especially against Pendulum-based decks, because that's where I feel like this card excels. It can absolutely destroy a Pendulum deck if you go for this card, and if your opponent can't, you know, negate, if it negates the effect of all spell cards, that can prevent a lot of stuff from activating. I think that they can still activate them though, because it just negates the effect. So therefore they can still complete scale, and then they can throw them out, but still, again, yeah, obviously negating all of the spell cards, it is pretty advantageous. But again, at the end of the day, what deck really relies on just spell cards that, like I said, I believe, let me know if I'm wrong on this, guys, in the comment section, but it's not negating and destroying them. So it just makes it so they're negated, so you can still complete your Pendulum skill, go for the Pendulum. That's at least what I'm thinking. I'll have to, maybe, I don't know if there's a glitch on that, sometimes on early on there's glitches on this, but let me know, guys, does this work? Because I think Pendulums still work because it doesn't destroy them, but it negates the effects of them, so I'm guessing you can't like search out. But if you can still complete your Pendulum skill and just Castell this thing, the deck has a lot of black cards that just don't work too well, and especially since Silent Swordsman is already vulnerable to like Castell or anything that just like absorbs the card, anything along the lines of that, bouncing it back into the deck. Has Cosmojo. Does it have to go to the graveyard? Oh, actually, it does not have to hit the graveyard, so Cosmorning, that's the card, not Cosmojo. Cosmorning would make it so it doesn't hit the grave, but nonetheless, it still gets effect. I think it's pretty good, kind of cool to see some old support for this. I looked up the level support, they call it LV, or they call it, oh no, that's gonna probably be a bad idea. There's a card also called Level Up, and there's also another card called Level Modulation. So these are like some other support cards for the level. Well, I don't know. If I type in level, I think it's just gonna have the keyword level, so it's probably not a good idea. I don't think there's anything. I'm gonna put level and then space. It probably be okay. There's too many cards with level. Oh, there's level tuning. Okay, so that's not gonna work with it. But the two cards that I know that will work well in maybe a level deck if you want to play a level deck. Oh, there's also this card. Hold on. This I don't know if you want to play this card, but it's there. So anyways, level up. So you send a face-up level monster on your side of the field to the graveyard, and special summon a monster from your hand or deck that is written on that card's text of the sent monster, ignoring all summoning conditions. So that's pretty good that you're able to do that. But this one summons 5, so it's not listed on the text, so I think you have to level up like slowly. You can't just go from 3 into 7. I think you have to go 3, 5, then 7, so that's definitely already a downside, and this just gets straight up level 7, so I feel like it could be used, but again, the problem that I have with level 5 is you got a tribute already for it, so that's kind of minus. And then level modulation, so your opponent draws 2 cards, which at that point you best be OTKing, and then you special summon 1 monster from your graveyard that includes a level in its name, ignoring summoning conditions. That monster that was special summoned by this turn cannot attack nor activate or apply its effect this turn, so that's also kind of minus. I feel like Horus is just better than Silent Swordsman, and then you have level down, so you actually go down a level. Don't know if that's actually really that great, but Horus, this is the only, I think, level monster that people actually use. So this one is much better because it negates and it destroys, and it's got extra attack, and it only negates your opponent's attack. I guess you can negate your own, but like, why would you do that? But I think Horus is the best out of a level system. But you know, nonetheless, maybe we'll get some support for Horus. Maybe we'll get other level support that makes it more viable. But my thoughts on this are, it's just not good enough. Although, like I said, this card gets stronger and stronger. There's too many decks that just go Pendulum and just lose anyways. It's just too slow for the game. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, or if there's any other good level cards so we can test out the Silent Swordsman in action and kind of mess around with it. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you guys give that like button a titty slap. And I'm signing out.